Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the PackBulletin podcast. Today, we will be covering the 2024 NFL Draft for the Green Bay Packers, the first 3 rounds, and we're going to be going over who I think would have been a better pick if there would have been a better pick at our spot for the first 3 rounds, knowing what we know now. Let's get into it.
News, analysis, updates, and more. Your home for Green Bay Packers football. This is the PackBulletin podcast.
So with the 2024 season in the books and the 2025 NFL Draft on the horizon, it's a good time to reflect on last year's draft and the strategy and the picks that we made. And like I said, given what we know now, we're going to reassess the selections that the Packers made in the 2024 draft for the first 3 rounds and make some adjustments that I think maybe could have helped the team a little more throughout the 2024 season. And we're going to jump right into it with the first round pick for the Green Bay Packers. We went with Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle out of Arizona. Our offensive line was a priority going into the 2024 offseason, as made clear by our first-round pick being an offensive lineman. And also, I understand it because when you watch that Eagles game, I'm talking about the wild card game, especially when Elgton Jenkins went down, our offensive line got very weak, and we could use some more help there. Unfortunately, Morgan battled with injuries pretty much all season. We didn't really see him on the field, and even when he was healthy, he wasn't really seeing the field. Who knows if that's just them trying to develop him or if there's a deeper reason to that. But I'm going to jump into it and tell you who I think would have been a better pick, because he was available. All these would have been available at our pick, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be on the list. A lot of people were speculating that the Green Bay Packers would pick Cooper DeJean out of Iowa, and I think that would have been a better pick. Granted, we did kind of what the Packers do and don't go after massive names, and I'm not saying he was a massive name, but he definitely had some lore to him coming into the draft, and like I said, a lot of people expected him to be drafted by the Packers. Didn't end up happening that way. He had a pretty good year. Arguably, I'd say arguably, but honestly, he had a better year than Jordan Morgan did. He saw the field like the whole season. He, in his rookie season with the Eagles, he tallied 51 tackles, forced 1 fumble, had some returns for punts that were pretty decent, and notably in the Super Bowl, he had a pick 6 against Pat Mahomes, who a lot of people say is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Sure. Right time, right place. That argument always stands. But he was also, I saw something earlier today, he was also the highest rated corner in the league this whole season as a rookie, which is pretty impressive. So then we're going to go to round 2. Our first pick, and we had 2 picks in the second round. First pick was Edgerrin Cooper. No change there. Standout player. I think he was one of the biggest steals of the draft, if not the biggest steal of the draft. Kid needs to see the field more often. Sure, he was injured a little bit, but felt like we were kind of holding him back. Not like our team's holding him back. I felt like the coaching staff kind of didn't want to put him out there all season. He's a rookie. Kind of makes sense. You want to give him time to develop. That's kind of what the Packers do. Look at our quarterback room situation for the past 30 years. That's what we do. But, yeah, no change there. Edgerrin Cooper was a standout player, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with on defense as a linebacker for a long time to come, hopefully wearing green and gold for a long time to come. Second pick in the second round, we went with Javon Bullard, safety out of Georgia. We drafted him as a safety, knowing he was a safety, and he played safety a little bit, but then we jumped him over to corner, or like a nickelback more, dime back, and he didn't have the same impact as Cooper, but he definitely contributed to our defense. There were definitely times where watching him, I was frustrated, and I felt like he wasn't playing the greatest, but when you go back and you rewatch the games and you take a deeper dive, you definitely notice that he deserved to be picked where he got picked. I would not change that draft pick either. He added a reliable presence and an aggressive presence in the defensive backfield. He didn't really make any standout plays per se, but given time to grow, I think he can become a top safety or dime or nickelback wherever the Packers decide to plug him in. I think he can make that work for him and for us. Round 3. With round 3 of the 2024 NFL draft, we also had 2 picks. First pick, we went with running back Marshawn Lloyd out of USC. And his rookie season was riddled with injuries. And when he was on the field, I don't know about you guys, I felt his performance was kind of underwhelming. But also he didn't really see the field too much. One, he was injured a good amount of the season, and also he's a rookie, so he's not going to see the field as much. We had Josh Jacobs that carried the workload for us. That dude, great free agent add-on, by the way, Goody. So yeah, we didn't really see too much of Lloyd. Who knows? He could develop to be a great running back. He definitely showed potential in college. A lot of people were excited to see him play in the NFL, and I feel like a lot of people were surprised that he slipped to the 3rd round for the Green Bay Packers to be able to pick up. And with losing Aaron Jones and getting Josh Jacobs to be our starter, a lot of people were expecting A.J. Dillon to be the backup. And then he had a season-ending injury, so it wasn't a bad idea to pick up a running back, and I feel like the Packers probably would have went with a running back in the 3rd round, and I think the better choice, seeing what happened this year, would have been Bucky Irving out of Oregon, who slipped to the 4th round. So I don't know that you could necessarily say take him as early as we took Lloyd, but knowing what we know now, Bucky Irving had a pretty good season. He ran for 1,122 yards with an average of 5.4 yards a carry. He ran for 8 touchdowns. He had 47 receptions for 392 yards with a 8.3 yard per catch average. His impact was felt across the league. I had him for a little bit in fantasy. He definitely helped out my team. And he's a strong contender for Tampa Bay's starting role at running back. I think he would have been a good alternative to Marshawn Lloyd, and Bucky Irving saw the field throughout the season. Can't say the same for Lloyd. Again, who knows? Given time, given there's no injuries, maybe Lloyd makes a career for himself. Maybe he becomes a solid number 1 at some point. Maybe he just sticks to a solid backup for Josh Jacobs. Time will tell. Hopefully he's healthy for the 2025 season and we can utilize him the way that we want it to. Our second pick in the 3rd round was linebacker Tyrone Hopper out of Missouri. He saw the field a little bit, not too much. Our linebacking core kind of stepped up a good amount this year. Quay Walker, he was iffy at the start of the season, got stronger at the end. Like I said, Edrin Cooper was a standout player. Isaiah McDuffie, he made plays when he had to make plays. Eric Wilson, great season considering that he was kind of someone that no one really wanted. But he made some big plays for us. He had I can't remember who it was against. I kind of feel like it was Miami, if I remember right, that he had a really good game. And I hope that he can grow on that, and it'd be cool to see the Packers keep him. And it'd be cool to see Tyrone Hopper see the field, show his potential, show his abilities, show his skills, and show that he was worth the pick. But knowing what we know, I think Jalen McMillan, wide receiver out of Washington, would have been a better pick. Yes, another guy that was taken by Tampa Bay instead of the Packers. He was taken 1 pick later than Hopper. So that maybe would have been that's a closer comparison than the last pick that we revised. Yeah, so Tampa Bay selected Jalen McMillan right after we took Hopper. And McMillan, I'm not going to say had a great year, but he definitely made a notable impact on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He recorded 37 receptions for 461 yards with a 12.5 yard per catch average. He had 8 touchdowns. He had a little bit of a contribution on the ground game. He had 43 yards over 4 carries, averaging 10.8 per carry. And the Packers, we entered the season with high expectations for our receiving core. There were definitely times it was frustrating, but that's going to be with any part of any team. And depth wouldn't hurt, especially knowing that Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs are approaching the end of their rookie contracts. And in my opinion, I really think that we're only going to be able to keep one of them. Who? I don't know. That's a tough choice. It's Romeo Doubs, I feel, might be the better choice because he's consistent, stays on the field. But Christian Watson is one hell of a player. He can stretch the field. He's a deep threat. He did a lot better with injuries this year, but he had a big one this year too. That's going to take him out for a good chunk of next year, which is very unfortunate. But both of them are coming up to the end of their rookie contracts, and I think some depth and youth at receiver would have been nice with McMillan. Obviously, that's not the way it happened. We'll see how his career turns out as he has Baker Mayfield throwing to him down in Tampa for the years to come. Yeah, so we went over the three first rounds of the 2024 draft and what the Packers did with them. What, in a perfect world, could have been better for them. Obviously, this is my opinion. You can have your own opinion. I'm not going to say you're wrong. This is just the guys that I noticed when I'm watching pretty much every single game, every single Sunday. And these are the guys that I think could have made an impact for the Packers this year. Now, hindsight's 2020. We don't have these guys. But looking back at the 2024 draft, the Packers had opportunities to make selections that could have made a bigger impact than the selections that they did make. But some picks, like Edgerrin Cooper and Javon Bullard, they were solid choices. Others, such as Morgan and Lloyd, were a little less effective than expected, but also it's because they didn't really see the field. They were injured for a good chunk of the season. And players like Cooper DeJean, Bucky Irving, Jalen McMillan could have strengthened key areas of need. Don't necessarily need a receiver because, like I said, we had high hopes for our receiving core coming into the year. Depth doesn't hurt, though. Bucky Irving, don't necessarily need a running back. Again, we expected to have A.J. Dillon for the season. Didn't happen. Our DB group, it's kind of been a little shaky for the past couple years. I think a first-round pick with Cooper DeJean would have been nice, especially seeing what he did this year. Again, hindsight's 2020. Didn't happen. We'll see what they do in the 2025 draft with that fastly approaching in Green Bay this year. Enjoy Lambeau if you're going. Enjoy Titletown if you're going. Enjoy the beautiful town that is Green Bay, Wisconsin. I absolutely love it up there. It's my heaven on earth. But yeah, some of those guys I think could have strengthened key areas of need and helped push the Packers further into playoff contention. I mean, we obviously made it, but one and done. That's, for a place that's called Titletown, that's unacceptable. We need to get back and hoist that Lombardi some point in the near future. So as we head into the 2025 NFL Draft, we'll see what Green Bay does with their selections. We have the number 23 pick in the first round. See what they figure they need. We're going to be going over players that I think would be good draft picks, probably for just the first 3 rounds again, because those are the rounds that really matter the most, realistically. That's going to be another podcast and another article on PackBulletin.com. Keep an eye out for that. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And as always, go Pack, go.